and the feeling of your employer is so central in whatever decision that you make.
In this case, the employer here are the people
of Kenya.
Your Excellency.
And if you find the people are up in arms, and everybody is complaining, the stakeholders are complaining, Kenyans are complaining, you simply cannot ignore them and decide that you must do what you have decided because it's a government program. Because that government program is meant to benefit some people. And if the beneficiaries of that program are uncomfortable with its implementation, with its component, with the way it is being rolled out, you have a responsibility as a leader who is elected all the time to take into consideration the views of the people.
This responsibility you had when you chaired the cabinet subcommittees in which the shift from NHIF to SHA came. And for Kenyans who do not understand the workings of government, many of whom are watching today, you may need to tell them, if it's true that you did not agree or you said it was rushed because it came to a cabinet subcommittee you chaired, how did it end up in the cabinet? You're the second most powerful person.
Cabinet will work on policies. The issue is not the policies, the implementation. In terms of timelines, in terms of the transition, it's now when to go to the respective ministry or department that the whole issue of implementation comes into question. And this is where I'm saying, in my view, the thing is rushed and there is no adequate public participation because the views of the public are not being taken into account. You can pass a very good policy and there's nothing wrong with passing a good policy. But when you take it to the people, they have a different view. You have a responsibility to change your mind after listening to the people, because at the end of it all, they are the consumer of that policy. You know, all these public policies are meant for the public. They are not for the bureaucrats who work around them. So when you do it, and probably you think you are doing it in good faith, and you think you have come up with a very good policy that can benefit the people. And when you roll out, and that's why public participation has become very instrumental in the new constitutional dispensation. You must ask the people, what do you think about this program? If there is a lot of resentment, if there is a lot of rejection, it behoves you as an administration to take into consideration the views of the people. You know, I have seen an advisor in the president's office telling people that their children will not be allowed to go to school unless you register for this program. You know, that is coercion. That is intimidation. If something is good, Ibrahim, it is people who should be rushing to register. You know, a good package, something that is attractive, something that is beneficial to the people. You know, it is upon people to rush and do it. But if it reaches where you have to intimidate people and blackmail them, that unless you register for this program, your child will not be admitted to school, there is a problem somewhere. Why are you setting conditions?
Mr. Gachagua, what level of responsibility are you taking in this situation that we are in? You're speaking about a government that does not listen. You served in this government for close to 2.5 years. Are you surely lifting your hands and saying, I am not responsible for anything?
But Karanja, you had the charges against me in the Senate. These are some of the charges that were brought against me. Insubordination, because of saying, no, this is not right. I'm told I'm insubordinating the president. I was accused of not living to the principle of collective responsibility, because in some instances I would say, no, this is wrong. I've listened to the people and this program is anti-people. So you cannot sit here and ask me to take responsibility when you know that some of the charges against me before the National Assembly and the Senate was that I went to the side of the people.
Charges.
I'm a people's person.
Charges which you, through your lawyers, completely refuted.
That's what I'm saying. I said, like, we were told to go and supervise the demolition of homes along Nairobi River. And I said, no. And I say that is not insubordination, that is doing the right thing. Because, one, a government should not have war, be at war with the citizens. We had made a commitment as the Kenya Kwanza administration that if we are elected to office, we will not have brutal evictions and inhuman relocation of citizens. And here I'm being told to do it, and I say, no, I will not do it. And I was defending that charge to say what I did is the right thing, because even if you look at the UN Charter, there are certain ways how you relocate people. So I have gotten where I am today because in many instances, I refuse to betray the people of Kenya.
Fair enough.
I refuse to betray the people of Kenya. And what is not right, I said it's not right. And where people had a big problem with a program, I will tell Mr. President, the people have a problem with this
Fair
program.
enough. You have mentioned that the crux of the matter, and I'm sorry for taking you back, but it's really important that you bring it out. The crux of the matter on SHA is 104 billion shillings that was being used for the system. What do Kenyans need to know about this?
Kenyans need to speak out. They
need to speak out about something they know
104 billion shillings, Karanja. It's not 104 shillings. It's serious money. And experts have told me that it was possible to improve the existing system that was in NHIF at a cost of between 7 to 800 million. Here we are spending over 100 billion. And from where I sit, when I look at the whole rush of this SHA shift thing, it is because of this 104 billion. That is where the issue is.
And because in this you were in cabinet, who was tasked in handling this? Who was tasked?
The Ministry of Health. Again, the president works here as a team of economic advisors who do most of the work with him before things can come to cabinet. This is where all these details were worked out. And you have heard that even people in that economic advisory council, their spouses are involved in that system. There is clearly a conflict of interest, and the whole thing is not straight. And that is why Kenyans are agitated. Why would you want to spend 104 billion shillings on a system that is not necessary? It was quite okay to improve the existing one, between 7 to 800 million to do the same purpose. So you can see some people somewhere are conflicted. And that is why the rush. Because for this 104 billion to come out, the thing needs to be rushed.
Who are the platform providers on SHA? Because I have seen documents from the Ministry of Health that indicate that for every amount that SHA will be paying for each procedure done or for each service offered, some amount will be heading or directed to a platform provider.
I think 25% or something like that.
Who are these platform
I don't know.
providers?
I was not involved. The conceptualization of this SHA thing, I was just there. And that's why I'm saying many times I was being told, President said that I failed to defend. He said when he was unveiling his deputy, he accused me of having left him alone to defend government programs. And fail to support him to defend government programs. But how do I defend things I don't know? Karanja, I can't go to defend that shark thing. The use of 104 billion, I would be out of my mind to come to television to support something that, in my view, is ridiculous, and which from every perspective is pure theft of public funds. I cannot defend such things. I was being told to defend Adani. You know, I said one day I was in a funeral somewhere in Trans Nzoia, and I think the senator for Kisii, Richard Onyonka, came very hard on government because of Adani. And I was the last to speak, and I said nothing about the issue. So one of people around the president called me and really abused me, that government was being attacked and you did not defend. How do I defend theft? I cannot defend corruption. I am a man of integrity. And much as probably the president says that I did not defend government programs, he is right to a certain extent. I defended the ones that were above board. Anything, I did the alcohol program, I worked on it. Registration of farmers for fertilizer program, I defended, I worked on it the last day. Coffee reforms, I defended. Tea reforms, I defended. Anything that was above board, that was in public interest, I defended. But issues of corruption, issues of theft of public funds, I could not go and defend. And he must forgive me. I asked President William Ruto to forgive me. I'm sorry, my former boss. Adani, I could not help you to defend. Shah, I could not help you to defend. If the deputy you have picked can defend theft and corruption, let him go ahead, because he is not elected, he is your person. And I was so persuaded and so motivated to be part of that until along the way I found that I am not involved in any of those decisions at all. Mine is to carry out what has already been decided without an input at my level. And that is why I was being accused of not defending government programs. And I have given you the reasons that you can only defend that which you have part of. But if you are not part of that decision, if you are not part of that program, if your input has not been sought, if your views have not been incorporated, then it will be very difficult for you to defend that particular program.
Yet from how it looked when you were in public, it appeared like you are deeply involved in every decision.
The first year, yes.
Up to some point,
the second year, you saw me keep quiet on all those things.
Let me ask you a direct question. What is your opinion on the housing levy that was introduced on Kenyans on the Finance Bill of 2023, Finance Act of 2023?
To be truthful to you, I have told the president countless times that the people of Kenya do not want a housing program. The people of Kenya are of the view that building houses should be left to the private sector. They revisit the tenure of President Mwai Kibaki. President Mwai Kibaki opened the bypasses, built the roads, installed electricity and sewage. And then the houses just came up. Just go through the bypasses. So that you also allow the private sector to thrive. Again, people are of the view that housing is a very personal thing. And people should be allowed to build their own houses at their own time. And that is why you find, many people are not able to tell the president that truth. Many people are not able to tell him that truth. And that is why you found the other day when he was in Embu, he went to talk about that housing and people told him, no, we don't want it. Because it's reaching there, because you see what is happening to Kenyans. They find everybody else has failed them. MPs are not talking for them. Nobody is talking for them. Then they are left on their own now to address the president directly. It was very unfortunate because that shouldn't happen ordinarily, where people are shouting at the president. It's not right. It was very awkward for me. But people have reached there because he was talking about housing so passionately to people who believe it is not right, And many a times I told the president, Your Excellency, I've talking to many people. Professionals are talking to me, business people are talking to me, church people are talking to me. People think that we should concentrate on completing the projects that we inherited from President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mhm.
the Mau roads, the bypasses, all roads that are going on, irrigation dams, provide rural electrification. The people of Kenya feel that that is a priority. Again, the people wanted us to pay the pending bills, which is about 900 billion. They felt that the issue of housing is really not a priority, and it's a very individual thing, and they feel that it should be left to the private sector. You know, and myself, Karanja, I'm a people's person. Once the people are of that opinion, that becomes my automatic opinion. You
And
know,
that automatic
the president was accusing me of not going to launch housing. It's one of the things repeatedly he would accuse me of. Wewe Rigiji hunisaidii kwenda kufungua manyumba nini? Mwambia hii manyumba watu watake boss. Sasa mimi sitaki kupigana na raia. Unajua hii wananchi ndio wametuajiri kazi. Mwambia rais, tumeajiriwa kazi na hii watu. Sasa hii kitu ya manyumba hii hawataki. You know? Hata tukijaribu kuambia, they are not interested. Because even many times I would go with the president and he would start speaking. Normally he would take between 15 to 30 minutes depending on the mood he's in and how the crowd is and the reception. So with the time I had studied how long he takes. So once he starts and I decide that he'll take 25 minutes, I would go and mix with the people when we are launching those projects. And they would clearly just say they are not interested.
Mr. Gachagua, you're telling us that most of the advices you gave, you're saying you gave an opinion about SHA,
Yes.
it was never heard. You gave an opinion about the housing levy,
Yes.
it was never had nor implemented.
It wasn't.
Then why did you insist on serving for that long? Why didn't you resign? You were in a government
Yes.
that clearly didn't want to heed your advice as the president's principal assistant.
Well, President William Ruto had not given me the job, so I was given by the people of Kenya. And there were a few things that I was doing that were okay. I was quite busy and happy to do the coffee reforms. I was quite happy to do the tea reforms. I was very happy to do reforms in the data sector.
Which you claimed were eventually sabotaged by Parliament. Up until recently.
But there was something that I was doing. I was working on the ACO program, and I felt there were a few things that I could continue doing that were beneficial to the people of Kenya. And since I had been employed by the people of Kenya, I could not leave the job simply because I'm not being listened to, because there were a few things on my own that I was doing quite successfully.
It would have been insincere, because you are saying even the once you the work you did was sabotaged. You're saying you are given the job by the people of Kenya and you could not leave.
No, it was by the work I was doing was going very well until a decision was made to get rid of me, and then people now started sabotaging the programs that I was doing. Like the alcohol program I was doing was very successful. I did very serious meetings at the coast, at Eastern, at Central, at Rift Valley. and working with all the stakeholders in the security sector, KRA, KEBS, and everybody else, who were able actually to bring sanity in the villages in terms of drug and alcohol abuse. And my spouse, Pastor Dorcas, was also doing a different program under our office on addiction and rehabilitation. And it was working very well. And I was saying, even if I did nothing else, I was quite happy to remain as deputy president to do that program. But along the way, when a decision was made that I must leave office by way of impeachment, that decision was made about a year ago. So it's been a long struggle for a year. That is when it was decided that I must be removed from office because I'm stubborn, because I'm asking too many questions, because I'm not defending corruption, because I'm not defending programs that cannot be defended. And that is when it started now interfering. The coffee subsector, money that had been voted for, about for the cherry fund, about 4 billion, they only listed 500 million so that I can fail, so that then they can blame me of not working on the coffee sector.
All right.
You know, people like the KTDA was involved in the fertilizer program, subsidization of fertilizer for tea, and money was never released so that I could fail. Those things happened the last 1 year. The first 1 year we worked well. I think the last year is when the president decided that I'm too much. He cannot control me. I'm asking too many questions. I'm not a yes-sir person. I am difficult. I'm stubborn, in his own words. I'm erratic and all those things he would say. That is when now the good programs that I was doing that were very successful were sabotaged.
You've made your point. Let's now speak about the current situation. We are at a season where we are seeing you actively rallying up the Mount Kenya region. What is your
Kenya is a country made of communities and regions. And in our politics, since the advent of multipartyism, no region can govern this country on its own. It's always people coming together and they agreeing on what to do. And all politics is local. Much as I'm a national leader, as you come to the national table, you must come from somewhere and you must bring something on the table. So I come from the Mount Kenya region. That President William Ruto asked me to help galvanize to support him, and I did successfully. And he got 87% of the vote. And from where I sit, from the history of that region, whenever it has been divided, it has always gone to the opposition. Any one time it has been united, it has always been part of government, either as a king or the kingmaker. And we learned many lessons in 1992 when we got divided into Fordasili and DP, and 1997. So from 2002, 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022, we were united. So as a deputy president and as a senior leader from that region, I took it upon myself to unite the region for its relevance in the national political discourse, so that when we engage other Kenyans, we engage from a position of strength and respect. And one of the issues that we disagreed with the president was my refusal for him to create division in the mountain, because the president wanted to have counties that he would control directly without the center. And I saw danger in that politically for the region, in future. And I was telling him, no, we can't divide the mountain. The mountain supported you as one. It should remain as one. And I started that agitation to unite the mountain successfully. And at a certain point, I think he was advised that it is possible to divide the Mount Kenya east and west. And they try to do that, but it cannot work. And I'm sure the day we were in Embu, he went home knowing that the mountain is one. In fact, the leaders who were there who were cheered wildly were from the west by the people of the east. President Uhuru Kenyatta and I. And there was somebody from the east. The mountain is one. So going forward, even as I'm out of office, I have a responsibility as a leader from that region to continue working on our unity, to continue telling our people that their relevance in the national political discourse will be informed by their unity of purpose. And I'm very happy that the ordinary people from that region are united to a man. And the division is only at the leadership level, because there's interference from other people from outside. But the ordinary people are one.
So and with this information, then what does your future hold? Are you seeking to unite the mountain so that you can get to join, to form coalitions? Are you seeking to unite the mountain?
Not necessarily. I'm just being responsible as a leader from the area, because the region looks upon me to guide on how we move on. After this impeachment, there was a lot of confusion and disquiet. Now what happens to the region? Where are we moving from here? So I have a responsibility to put our people together. And I don't need to be deputy president to do that. I'm a leader who is accepted in that region and loved by the people of that region, because they know me and they believe in me. And I am consulting a lot. I am not working alone. We are talking with other political leaders. We are talking with other political parties. We are talking to church leaders. We are talking to professionals. We are talking to business people. We are talking to the young people. And this consultation is very extensive. It will take this December and the bigger part of January. I'm sure early February we'll have come up with something we can give to our people.
You've said you're talking with other political leaders, yes. And there has been talk out there that you are headed to join forces with Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Natembeya, and those. I think
people are jumping the gun. Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are great leaders of this country, and definitely we can work together. Absolutely. And of course, myself and the people of the mountain were very happy with the stand Kalonzo Musyoka took during the impeachment to stand with me. And our people are normally very grateful people. They remember good deeds. And we have listened to what Kalonzo is saying, and we like what he is saying. So there are opportunities that we can always work together. And in fact, there was a cultural meeting between the Gikuyu, the Embu, and the Meru, and the Akamba, trying to coin something that they work together. And I want to encourage, that's a very good discussion. Because the Akamba people are our cousins. In fact, it's unfortunate we had not been talking earlier. But God's timing is always the best. So, but we have not agreed on any alliance with anybody. What is happening is that leaders who are like-minded talk with each other. But before we can even come to that, you cannot go to discuss with other people before you put your house in order. We need to put our house in order. And the mountain, we made serious mistakes in 2022. Political miscalculation and clear lack of good strategy. And I own up. on behalf of the region.
Is this about getting into UDA without your own political
That's
party?
what I'm saying. We made many mistakes, and I own up, and I really want to apologize to the people of Mount Kenya region.
All right.
That probably because of lack of experience at that level are not, dealt at that level. I committed the region to an arrangement that has come to haunt us.